Tiger Woods won the Masters Championship yesterday at the age of, was it 42, 43 years old? I think it was something like 11 years since he won his last sort of major championship before that. And the reason I wanted to talk about it today is because we do a lot of stuff here on the Simon Miller Vlog series about mental health, depression, anxiety, and motivational speaking, inspiring stuff. I was like, man, we can talk about that. I can talk about that for days. Now, I think the first thing we got to do is, well, first thing I got to do is say hello, everybody. That was gibberish. Hello, everybody. My name is Simon Miller. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, please. Like, share, do all the YouTube stuff. Comment below. But yeah, in terms of the subject we're talking about today, the first thing we do need to address is, of course, that Tiger Woods went through a lot of personal problems. I don't know how long it was now, say 5, 6 years. And it's one of those things where I've seen it on Twitter and social media all day with people saying, should we really be celebrating Tiger Woods' victory given what he did? And the answer is that is completely and entirely up to you. It comes down to the argument of, can you separate the person from their actions? And I think if you can't, that's a perfectly viable, excuse isn't the right word, but a perfectly viable reason not to buy into the hype that is surrounding Tiger Woods. When you look at it from a sporting point of view, it certainly is one of the greatest comebacks in sporting history to go through all those personal problems and, you know, a drug issue because of his, or a painkiller issue, I should say, because of his back. I think he's had 4 back surgeries, and the last one wasn't even to get him back to playing golf. It was just to ensure that he could live his life pain-free. That's quite the ordeal to go to. And then to come back against other athletes at the top of their game and not let it, well, I'm sure it affected him, but, you know, managed to overcome all that. It is quite an incredible story, and that's what I want to focus on today. Like, whatever you think about Tiger Woods, whatever you don't think about him, whether you like golf or not, that's irrelevant. This is more about human nature and what you should and shouldn't do. I mean, ultimately, you should do whatever the hell you want as long as it's morally okay. Like, you shouldn't go out and kill anyone. That's bad, regardless how you spin it. But it kind of, again, it just ties into the stuff that we've been talking about on this vlog series a lot, which is two things really. Never giving up on yourself and believing in your own abilities, but also following those things deep down that you know that you want to follow. And I get that question all the time. Like, I'm a professional wrestler, and so many people say to me, Simon, I don't know whether I want to be a professional wrestler. Should I go and train? And I always say the same thing. I'm like, you absolutely should go. Because you can only regret the things that you don't do. And the worst thing you can ever do is get to 70, 80 and look back, if you're lucky, of course, and look back and then think to yourself, damn, man, why didn't I do it? You know, this is the thing that comes up the most. Like, the best time to do something is 10 years ago or today, but you can't turn the clock back. Back to the Future doesn't exist. So just go and do whatever it is. And I kind of feel, you know, that's what the Tiger Woods thing, the Tiger Woods things ties into just never giving up. I'm sure given everything that he went through, for better or worse, he had so many times where he thought, I'm just going to knock golf on the head. I had that with my shoulder injury. Like, I was training for 2 years, but in terms of doing it forward facing, it was like 6 months and I got injured and I thought, oh, I can't do this. It's not for me. And that's all about to change. I won't say more than that, but, you know, the comeback is nigh. And when you get to the end of an arduous or a difficult road, and you realize, and you figure out what you want as well. I think that it comes hand in hand. I think it's okay to give up and walk away from something if you're 100% sure that's what you want to do. In fact, I think that takes just as much strength of character as finding the will to carry on. But to see somebody like Tiger Woods, who had experienced the highest of highs and lowest of lows, not let it get the better of him in the future. Because, I mean, look, you can judge him as much as you want. Like, that is an entirely individual thing. But there has to be, well, it depends obviously, but in this case I think there has to be somewhat of a, you know, when is he repented enough? When has he said sorry enough? Like, when do we forgive him for his actions? And again, only you can answer that. Maybe it's never, maybe it's a year, 2 years, 3 years. It all depends on the person. His wife, for example, I'm sure doesn't feel that way at all, and that's perfectly understandable. She should not, but maybe she does. I don't want to speak on her behalf either. But that's, you know, again, just looking at the feat and the action itself, I think it's incredible. And it goes to show why you should never give up, because it's quite clear that Tiger Woods was going through some mental issues, mental health problems. I don't think that's up for debate. But now that he's managed to have this comeback and managed to do the thing that he used to do before he had these struggles, I think that will just double down on whatever the future holds for him. And really, you know, life in general is all just about being happy, but finding that happiness is really hard, because you can be happy just sitting in a room, but that's not really how the human brain works. The human brain looks for stuff. It's like retail therapy. You think, oh, if I buy that brand new TV or that new shoe or those new clothes, then I'll feel really good. But obviously there's a novelty to that. It wears off, and then you're looking for something else, which is why a lot of like Buddhism and meditation preaches to try and live in the moment, live in now, and take that in, because happiness is already there. You just have to find a way to tap into it. But there's nothing wrong with going outside of that sphere to try and find things that will add to your self-worth, to your self-confidence, to your happiness, to your positivity. And in Tiger Woods' case, it was winning one of the biggest competitions there is throughout all of golf. And he did that, like I say, after 4 surgeries, after personal problems, after being pulled over because he was under the influence of painkillers due to the pain that he was in. All of these things that he was able to shake off. And he even said himself he didn't feel like he was in 100% physical condition. Can he go on to break, Jack Nicklaus's record of 18 majors? Maybe. Maybe he can't. But it's really, that's almost an aside. That's an extra thing. And it kind of summed up my way of thinking. Obviously, I come at it from a different way from Tiger Woods. I'm not trying to overcome any kind of, everyone has negativity in their life, any serious negativity. But I certainly am trying to, both in myself, and I know people like these vlogs, which I tried to do them, sell this idea, don't even sell, but pitch this idea of just believing in yourself and never allowing other people's, and I understand why there were naysayers in this instance, but again, in a more general term, never allowing the naysayers, or the bastards, as the term goes, to keep you down. Because they don't deserve to keep you down. Especially if what they're stopping you from doing is something that you really love and something that you really care about. Nobody should stop you doing that. Even if it's a partner. Say you're in a relationship and you'd be that man, woman, whatever. Oh gosh, hit my cables. But even if they don't think you should be doing something, well, that's wrong, right? Straight away, there's an issue there. Nobody, if a partner should support you in that, and they should encourage you in that, and they should wish nothing but the best for you. And if anybody's getting in your head and making you think that it's a bad idea, but deep down you know that it's not, again, Tiger Woods it. Never give up. Just never give up and put yourself into something. Don't let it affect you negatively. If it starts going the other way, then you need to balance it out. But it's when you get there and when you reach the goal that you've been striving for, when you achieve something, when you feel that success, again, a lot of times, most people, much like the retail therapy, they don't think, well, what do I have to achieve now? Vince McMahon, the WWE guy, if you don't know, says that all the time. I think it was in a shoot interview with one of the wrestlers, and they said, well, how does Vince McMahon feel after a WrestleMania? And his answer was like, well, what are we going to do on Raw? And there's a huge plus to that, because it means you're probably going to be very successful because you're always driving and pushing yourself. But then there's that whole argument of, well, shouldn't you enjoy what you have achieved and your successes? Because that's going to make you feel good. And that's the reason we do anything, really. We do stuff to try and make ourselves feel good. That's it. That's what we are as human beings. I just found it a really inspirational, motivational story. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody hits rock bottom at some point. Sometimes it involves others, which sucks a bit more, but sometimes it just involves yourself. And anybody that can pull themselves up from the gutter, it's a term, we'll go with it, not the nicest one in the world, and, conquer something, again, with elite sportsmen who are practicing and doing it every day, I think it's incredible. I think it's a really good, a more sort of not the specifics of it, but an expanded lesson to try and take in to your day-to-day life. Again, like you can do the phrase you can do anything you set your mind to, I think it's true, but obviously it depends what you set your mind to. So if you want to be a world-class javelin thrower, but you don't have the natural ability to be a javelin thrower, I think you could probably become a javelin thrower, but you just got to keep it, the perspective of it, right? You've got to keep it within reason, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep trying, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep throwing that javelin as hard and harder every time you do it. If deep down that's what's going to make you happy and put a smile on your face, and that's the reason you get up every day, and that's the reason you sweat, that's the reason you smile, that's the reason you bleed, that's the reason you cry, just do it. Go and do it, because you never know where it's going to lead. I don't think Tiger Woods would have gone to that Masters thinking he was going to win, but he did. And now that he has done, he's going to have renewed confidence, he's going to have renewed faith, and he's going to take that into whatever he does next. And it will make him a better human, and make him a better father, a better partner, a better friend, whatever. Because it's all about self-confidence and self-worth. I think about when you're tired, right? When you're tired, you're not a worse person, but you're a more difficult person than maybe you are when you're not so tired. And anything that can kind of fill up those positivity tanks in your system is going to mean you're a better person on the outside. As long as you take a moment to accept that, realize it, observe it, so you can go into whatever's next. Either way, talking about the sport itself, unbelievable by Tiger Woods. I mean, is it the greatest comeback ever? I think it's certainly the conversation you can have. I know that the world loves hyperbole, especially in 2019. It makes for a good tweet. I just think it goes in there. It goes in there with Navratilova, Muhammad Ali. There's loads. I'm not going to go through them all. But these incredible feats that sportsmen have done. It's an incredible feat to be a sports person anyway. But to go through personal strife and be able to come back and prove that you've still got it, especially when you're older. It's always harder to do things when you're older because, nobody can fight age. I think it's a real cool and real important life lesson. So believe in yourself, never give up. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm on Patreon too, patreon.com/Simon316. I really want to get these vlogs daily. Hopefully I'll get myself together that we can, but we'll see what happens. Either way, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you again very soon.